Greetings, dear audience, cultured and knowledgeable. Welcome to this space where, if you blink, the price of tortillas has already gone up. They've taken over the embassy in London so that a rich kid can finish their master's degree, while another rich kid gets a promotion and a several-fold pay raise. This is what the fourth deformation calls meritocracy. We also bring you a case that smells more rotten than an unplugged refrigerator during a heat wave in Campeche. Welcome to another episode of Chronicles of the Fourth Transformation. Here, your humble host with my liver well-oiled to process the news that the government sells us as historic triumphs. We also bring you today a gem that will leave you speechless, or maybe with your mouth shut out of fear that they'll inject you with sugar water. Get ready for this mind-blowing journey through the healthcare system that they say has already left Denmark in the rearview mirror, though I think they meant Denmark from the time of the Black Plague. You already know that here hypocrisy is served cold, and the shamelessness of our political class is the main course. So, with the buffet of cynicism that our national politics serves us, let's get to it. Before we get to the welfare slackers, I want to talk to you about some other relevant topics for today. Let's start with the tortilla, that villain that doesn't care about other data. Here in the real Mexico, tortillas are becoming a luxury item. Claudia Scheinbaum insists there's no reason for cheap corn.
By the way, yesterday someone said that the price of tortillas was going to go up. That's not true. There is no reason for the increase in the price of tortillas because corn grains are at their lowest level. I think that in history there has never been any reason for the price of tortillas to go up. Yesterday, when I saw this statement, I called the Secretary of Seder and told him get in touch, not just with this person, but with everyone we have the agreement with. Mais tortilla, because there is no reason for the price of tortillas to go up or for other products either. How is it possible that a kilo of tomatoes costs 20 pesos at the local stores and 80 pesos at Walmart?
Of course, since everyone knows tortillas are magically made, requiring no gas, electricity, wages, or criminals demanding protection money, Homero Lopez Garcia from the National Tortilla Council had to come out and explain to the scientists that a tortilla is not just corn. It involves spare parts, freight, paper, food-grade materials, and most importantly, protection money in states like Guerrero or Puebla. But no, the government's response is a national pact that was only signed by 0.6% of the industry. If you don't like the pact, get ready, because Profeco is going to put up a giant banner that says, "Don't buy here." Great economic strategy, official harassment to hide inflation. On the other hand, the United States Department of the Treasury, those who actually investigate, unlike here, detected a network of the Northeast Cartel operating in casinos linked to, you're not going to believe this, exactly, people close to Noroña. The lawyer Juan Pablo Pinilla, attorney for Z40, has been caught in photos hugging the top brass of the Maroon Party. He even received awards in the Senate for his defense of human rights. I guess the rights of cartel leaders count double in the transformation. Meanwhile, in Veracruz, the oil spill keeps invading the beaches, and Governor Rocio Criminale says it's not pollution, but free asphalt for the roads. The optimism of these people is honestly pathological. If that weren't enough, congratulations, Mexico. We've achieved the unthinkable. While the world is concerned about artificial intelligence and clean energy, we have perfected the art of high-level medical simulation. Because why spend on real medicine when you can buy luxury counterfeits with taxpayers' money? It turns out that an international investigation, because, of course, our authorities here are too busy chasing votes or inaugurating airports without planes, has revealed that the government of courageous honesty has been supplying public hospitals with cancer medication, more fake than a campaign promise in the Zocalo. It all started with that brilliant idea of saving money by dismantling the medicine purchasing system. Geniuses. By leaving hospital pharmacies emptier than the head of a hardcore Morena supporter, they created the perfect scenario for criminal networks to say, "This is our turf." Reports of counterfeit drugs went from 45 in 2018 to over 250 in 2022. Yes, that's exponential growth. Take that, neoliberals. Let's talk about Keytruda. It's the best-selling cancer drug in the world. In the legal market, that little thing costs about 100,000 pesos per unit. But since we're really thrifty in this country, you can get it on the black market for 30,000 pesos. And what's inside? Who knows? Maybe hope, maybe tap water, or maybe a cocktail of chemicals that leave you worse off than after a banda music concert. There have already been 17 counterfeit batches detected, and don't think they just stay in the black market in Tepito. No, sir. These medications end up in public hospitals like the one in Mérida, where patients like Francisco Chavez, 50 years old, received these doses only to end up with uncontrollable tremors and permanent after effects. But hey, at least the healthcare system is free, right? Free until it costs you your life. But here comes the best part, the cherry on top of this disaster. The government itself funds these mafias. Companies like Top Pharma, which have already been accused of selling junk, have not only not been banned, but they keep winning million-dollar contracts. Between 2021 and 2025, these trusted distributors have pocketed nearly 9.5 billion pesos from public funds. It's a perfect business model. You create shortages, you buy from anyone who sells cheap, even if it's counterfeit. The patient gets sicker or dies, and you repeat the process. How do they do it? They're real craftsmen. They reuse expired containers, alter expiration dates, and even forge security seals with a precision that the INE would envy for election ballots. And if not, they simply smuggle them in through customs that conveniently seem to have worse eyesight than a grandpa after a marathon. Could this be déjà vu? You might say this sounds like Javier Duarte and his chemo made of water. You're right. What used to be the scandal of the century is now just an everyday thing under the banner of Republican austerity. The faces have changed, but the cynicism still has the same smell of a neglected hospital. Now let's get to the main course of this episode, the welfare slackers. No, this time we're not talking about the Lelos Lopez Beltran brothers. This time it's about two blockheads who were lucky enough to be born into humble families that have managed to get ahead thanks to the applause of thousands of foolish fans. Let's start with the first one. Apparently, being foreign minister in the Mexico of Franciscan austerity comes with an all-inclusive package in the United Kingdom. It turns out that our current Secretary of Economy, the always charismatic and ambitious, the jack-of-all-trades Marcelo Ebrard, decided that renting an apartment in the most expensive area of London for his son was too middle class. No, gentlemen, that's what we have an embassy in Belgrave Square for, just 15 minutes from Buckingham Palace, with carpets, fireplaces, and a view that not even the Beatles had in their best days. Marcelo Patrick Ebrard Ramos lived like a king between October 2021 and April 2022, paying out of his own pocket. Sorry, out of your pocket, mine, and the lady who sells tamales on the corner. The rent there is around 4,200 pounds a month, about 115,000 pesos. But for the foreign minister's son, it was free. And not only that, with a personal cook. But of course, Morena's moral superiority doesn't allow this to be called nepotism. It's simply diplomatic courtesy from the then ambassador Josefa Gonzalez Blanco. Yes, the same one who delayed a commercial flight years ago and now turned the diplomatic headquarters into a VIP hostel where even Jimmy Page's son, yes, the one from Led Zeppelin, walked around like he owned the place. Long live rock and roll and public funds. But it doesn't stop there. It seems like more and more cases of well-being freeloaders are coming to light. Do you remember that speech about Republican austerity? Yes, the one they kept repeating to us over and over, where they said no one could earn more than the master of the palace and that public service was almost like a vow of poverty. Well, it seems that for the family of our distinguished senator and lifelong social activist, the infamous Dr. Mugres Gerardo Fernandez Noroña, austerity is something that only applies to those who pay the electricity bill, not to those who collect it. It turns out that King Yael Villafaña Moran, the offspring of the man who wraps himself in the flag of social justice every time there's a camera nearby, has proven to be a true prodigy of public administration. According to reports circulating like a power surge in the Federal Electricity Commission, young King Yael not only has a job at the state-owned company, but also enjoys a salary that any engineer with 30 years of experience would envy. We are witnessing the miracle of the multiplication of pesos. Let's talk numbers, because this data comes directly from transparency portals, the ones that bother them most. King Yael receives income that, adding up gross salary, benefits, punctuality bonuses, because of course being punctual in the fourth transformation is rewarded with thousands of pesos, and rent assistance reaches the modest sum of approximately 115,000 pesos per month. Let's do the math. That's more than 1.3 million pesos a year. Wow, some people are really lucky. A professional with an ordinary salary of 18,000 pesos becoming the brand new head of discipline at the Subdirectorate of Unregulated Businesses. And those businesses really are unregulated, especially when it comes to finding positions for relatives. The funniest part of this tragicomedy isn't just the salary, but how it came to light. It turns out that Luis Felipe Calderon Zavala, yes, the son of the favorite villain, decided to give Noroña a taste of his own medicine in an exchange worthy of a digital street fight. Calderon Jr. reminded the senator that while he spends his time blocking people on social media and preaching morality, his son is earning at the CFE what an average Mexican would take years to save. And what did the champion of the oppressed say? The usual, that his children are hardworking, that they make their own way, and that it's all just a conspiracy. Sure, Gerardo, I'm sure the selection process at the CFE was extremely rigorous. I can imagine the tests. Is that what you said about a Morena senator? For cashing a check? Congratulations, you're hired. The harsh reality is that the CFE is the most expensive job placement agency in Mexico. The CFE has become the favorite refuge for the friends and family members of the regime. While your rates go up because it's very hot or because gas is expensive, they pay him 6,956 pesos for rent assistance and 5,362 for grocery assistance. Tell me, how many of you get that from your boss? No one, right? But of course, if your dad shouts himself hoarse in the chamber defending the indefensible, the least the government can do is make sure your groceries include salmon and fine cuts of meat. The obvious question is, where is the consistency? What really burns, and it's not the sun, is the shamelessness. Noroña, the man who a few years ago complained about the privileges of the power mafia, now keeps a deathly silence about his son's meteoric rise. We no longer see the incendiary tweets denouncing cronyism. Now the discourse is, I deserve it, because that's what I work for. I don't have to live in austerity. Or the classic, it's an attack on my family. Look, this isn't about attacking for the sake of attacking. It's about pointing out the disgusting hypocrisy of those who promise to be different. If the son of a PAN or PRI member had that kind of salary, Noroña would have already demanded his head on a silver platter in the Senate chamber. But since it's his own, it's called personal effort. Well, dear cultured and knowledgeable audience, there you have it. The healthcare system they promised us is closer to being an episode of The Walking Dead than a Scandinavian reality. While those at the top go on and on about well-being, those at the bottom fill their veins with substances that nobody knows where they came from. A country where the children of politicians live in London and earn in a month what it takes the good and wise people almost a year to make. The tortillas are the fault of the tortilla makers and those who have been turned. There's no doubt that we're living in the best time in history. If you're the son of a Morena party member with an apartment abroad and making money hand over fist, that's how things are in the Mexico of transformation, where ideals are sold for a job at the CFE and meritocracy only exists if you have the right last name. In the meantime, keep paying your electricity bills because Quimiel's salary isn't going to pay itself. I'll say goodbye before Profeco puts up a banner on my door saying, "Don't listen to this cynic." No, we'll keep hitting them where it hurts the most, with the truth. Keep questioning, keep doubting, and above all, don't lose your memory, because that's the only thing we have left against these bastards. If you like this dose of bitter reality, you know what to do. Don't let yourselves be injected with government optimism and keep your eyes wide open. Take care of yourselves if the healthcare system lets you. I'll read your comments. See you on Friday. Remember that you can make your donations via PayPal. You can find the information in the comment box. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications every time there's new content. Thank you. Thank you.